Okay, so we're in the green room. We're talking with Sam about his trade on SPXL, which is the leveraged ETF for the S&P 500 spiders. And I'm showing the chart how I have mine set up, but the 20, the 60, and the open is the red line, and the blue is the red line, and the red line is yesterday's close. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I think just this chart has pretty much everything I need. So it opened pretty much at the pivot from Friday and got bought.
The trader pivot line.
No, just the pivot from Friday there. So uh, yeah, right there. The last pivot on Friday is where it opened,
Right.
pretty much,
Yep.
right in that area, and
Yep.
got bought significantly on that first 5 minute bar. And then put in call it a 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the 3 bar.
Yeah. So I didn't do anything there. It's too early on a Monday. So watched it. It pulled back. It looked like it was going to, it looked like that first pullback there came in close to minor support from Friday. So yeah, right around there, it's and even a little higher that doji, it pulled back to the bottom of the fourth bar of the day. Yeah, in that area, in around there, it's close.
Yeah.
And then it continued up, and again, it gave that big red bar, which is
This,
blue on your chart. Yeah.
yeah, because I have it color coded for a wide range bar. Yeah.
And
So
then the
wait.
next
Let's
bar,
back up because the way you explained and the way I drew it, I don't, let me just see here. So when you said it pulled back, I think you meant here.
yeah, right there, which is right in that area of minor support. It's strong because it didn't even hit minor support,
Right.
right? So that's what I was looking. Um,
So just so everybody they explain. So two things. This is the minor support, the resistance area that was overcome. And so that theoretically should become support. We call that minor support. Or actually, yeah. And then so one of the things that I have mentioned, I think in the weekend video, was that buying has been very aggressive. Everybody knows that. And so where we've looked for buyers to show up in an unfilled gap, they're showing up ahead of it. So everybody's anticipating, and just a representation of the aggressiveness that's happening in this market. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then that black or blue bar there, that's the negative wide range bar.
Hmm.
And then the next bar at one point was another negative wide range bar.
Here.
Not that one. No, the one right beside the black one. The one with the big bottoming tail.
Okay. Yeah.
That at one point was a big red bar and got basically went and checked in my language on the Friday's close.
Hmm. The red line.
Yeah, and it also turns into the rising 60 on the 5 minute. So then, and it doesn't close below the 20. It hasn't closed below the 20 all day. I think
Hmm.
that's still true. Yeah. So at that point, I'm looking above the bottoming tail bar. I didn't get in on that second bar. So then I used that. That's where I got in. And then, in hindsight, I don't like to, I should have put a tighter stop in hindsight, but I didn't. Just because early in the morning, like, not as much data as if it was later in the day. And then I just watched bar by bar. And then I moved, which is a little different than my normal management. Um, there, I moved the stop below that green bar, wide range green bar, because um, I wasn't sure. And then the other thing on my chart that I have, Greg, that sometimes you have on your chart is there's a trader pivot at 266.97. That's R1.
So
260.
I don't put the trader pivot lines on this
Yeah.
myself, but do put them on the spiders as a reference.
Yeah, so I have it. So even on spiders, if you have it there, it's basically right above.
So we can just so
Yeah,
everybody knows. So that would be the trader pivot line
yeah,
on the spiders, which works well as a reference point, although you're trading the leveraged.
yeah.
Mhm.
And what I was thinking at that time on my entry was that there's enough void there to the next R2 line, and that's what I thought was the void. So it comes in on the SPXL where it comes in. That trader pivot line comes right above the second bar after the large bottoming tail.
You can put it on there so everybody sees where they are. Pivot.
Uh, P points. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. And so I thought when I entered that, I was looking at just that void from R1 to R2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a little bit nervous after those four red bars. So I did post in the green room that I'm moving my stop under the green the green wide range bar there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I um, and then I took profits at R2, and then I've got a small position. I got a quarter left that I've got my stop at 268.20 right now. So that's really my trade. I'm just wanting to take, like, there's no reason for it to be that tight other than it's a profitable trade. I'm
Yeah.
okay leaving money if it goes up, but it's been bullish all day. It's at the time when I used the pivot, when I used that pivot as a stop, um, I got in before it was actually a pivot because the bar didn't close. But you get the point of the trade, upward sloping
Sure.
20. The other thing is I use the VWAP was right there as well. So it was there was a lot of alignment. Now it worked out in hindsight. That's great, but I was prepared to for it as well, just based on the risk management.
So when I commented that's not your typical trade, it was based on how this hard this came down,
Yeah,
and it came down here. But that, in this current market environment, just doesn't seem like anybody cares. It's like just buy the dip, whatever it is, and that's been working. But typically, giving back that much that fast, they don't come back that quickly. But it's working right now.
yeah, and a more typical one for me would be watching this go sideways here for another hour and
Mm-hmm.
then see what happens. That would be more typical. But I was looking the you know the I'm just the gap downs on spies and Qs got bought pretty aggressively. Now the Qs were a little more erratic on that, but um, I thought that bottoming tail to me was really the tell that it was going. Now it could have, you know, what does it look like over that second bottoming tail bar that's not nearly as wide? It could have possibly rolled over right there, right? It's
Yeah.
it's put right, so it's and that's why once I got the big green bar, I'm I moved my stop underneath that. So at least I've got a little bit of profit if it does go if it goes against me. And then I just then the other thing again at the I got three bottoming tail red bars, all with higher lows, and then it put in. But I guess the advantage I have is I was patient and I wasn't bar by barring it then and moved my stop to the under the wide range green bar, and that worked. It held by and I go about a nickel below, not that, no, the wide range red bar that yeah, right there.
That one. Hmm.
But I go about a nickel below that low, and that held by I think 4 cents and continued to run, and now it's going sideways. I took a little more, like I said, at R2, which was my original thinking, was that I could get from R1 to R2. And in
Sure.
hindsight, tighter management, if I went under well, to be honest, if I went under the second bar from the big wide range, the big bottoming tail bar, if I put my stop, no, two over, if I put my stop under there,
Here.
yeah,
Hmm.
it would have been really tight, and probably honestly I would have been out before the next red bar if I was that tight.
Yeah. So Sam, think of a question. You said you put your stop under a nickel under the big green bar.
When I moved my stop, yeah.
Yeah. So makes sense. It shouldn't go down there, but markets are, as much as they're strong, volatile. So how do you deal with, okay, you got a wide range bar, it shouldn't go down there, yet you've got this consolidation there, and there's going to be buyers at that trader pivot line, but you're going to stop out if it goes there.
Yeah,
You don't want to give it that extra room, but I know there's going to be buyers there.
if well, my thinking on that, Greg, is if it goes there and I get stopped out, I still have the ability to watch and see what's happening. My thinking there is I don't want to turn a winner into a loser.
Sure.
So I'd rather take profits, because then if I'm taking profits, I'm more likely to do a new trade. Whereas if I get stopped out at a loss, I'm as much as I'm disciplined, there's always a little wiggle of doubt.
Of course.
And capital preservation to me is one of the most important parts. And even I've actually done quite well on this trade, but even if I made $100 on it, that's a hundred
Yeah.
bucks I've made,
Right.
versus losing 100,
Right.
especially on a day trade. And this one is probably more of a scalp setup. As I look back, it's turning into a day trade, but yeah, it, it I'm yeah, I can always re-enter, I guess, is how I would look at it. So taking, let's say, $100 down there, it may not even been $100, but taking that and then looking for a re-entry, there isn't really anything from the last pivot there, right on the 20, that looks like a setup, that I feel more confident about. Although now it going sideways up here,
Right.
there's a lot of room, like, but you know i'm not worried. I'm expecting a pullback. I don't know when. And that's the thing, like, this is, it gapped up last week. It's like, I'm talking spiders, it stayed above the gap. It's got three of the four last bars are green, four of the last five are green. um it's just there's a little bit of nervousness. Options expiry week.
Right.
Um, so there's other things that go into why I've done what I've done, but the price action this morning I felt was bullish, and that bottoming tail bar, that's a correction bar that took out how many, like a
Talking
few bars,
this way.
right? And just didn't hit the bottom of the red line there, the yes Friday's close,
Yeah.
but it was right in the like there was so much alignment there to me with the that was the tell for me, and I thought, okay, it got slammed down on that red bar, but there was buying underneath that, and that was what I was. And again, if we look at some of the other things, we've got a rising 20, we've got a rising 60. um
Yeah.
we,
For
we've
those
got
that
we've
don't know, that 60 is equal to the 20 on the 15-minute chart. That's why we use it. So
yeah
this tells me that, I can see this is an uptrend, and I know the 15-minute is in an uptrend, and we know the daily is in an uptrend. So basically, every trend is up, and
yeah
that puts the odds in your favor.
Yeah, and then the other one, like that bottoming tail coming in pretty much right at, it's probably within pennies of Friday's close,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, so there was a lot there that, if everything on this chart looked exactly the same, but it was in different areas, I don't
Hmm.
know if I would have done the trade. Like, I think that's what we've talked about. You gotta keep the broad picture in perspective as well. Let's say this was a bottoming pattern that had this type of price action. I
Hmm.
don't know, but when we put in a couple of things together, um, and then as I looked back on that, like that 1, 2, 3 at the open, um, there, and it came like it tested basically Friday's close. It tested once, twice, 3 times,
Yeah.
and even the low that today's open is right in that same area. So that's what my thinking was at the time, and yeah, I think I'm close to stopping out now. I've got it at a quarter, 268 and a quarter. Again, I don't need to hang on uh, for most of the day on this trade. I'll take the profits and then see what the afternoon brings.
Sure. So far, it's going sideways up there, but as we say, after 12 o'clock, and when they go sideways like that, sometimes traders just get impatient and they say, just take the money, and that'll create a little down move, and then it starts all over again, wherever it's going to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing, Sam.
Yeah, no, anytime. Thanks.
All right.